Something that's severely misunderstood is positivity. People try so hard to choose positivity in their life. And while I understand that being a positive person helps you have a better outlook on life, it helps you to attract more high quality people into your life, it's not the main thing that you should be focused on, right? There's so many influencers out there in this world. There's so many people on social media that talk about positivity and self-love and loving others. And yes, all of those things are extremely important. But there's one thing that's way more important, that will trump positivity, will trump self-love, will trump spirituality, will trump everything. And that's perspective. The perspective that you have of your life, the perspective that you have of the lives around you, the perspective that you have of the world. Perspective is what makes people take action. Perspective is what makes people depressed. Perspective is what makes people get fat, what makes people get ripped, what makes people heartbroken, what makes people happy. Perspective is absolutely everything. And until you can learn to master your own ability to create perspective out of thin air, out of nothing, you'll always have difficulty in life, whether that's stress, anxiety, depression, bullshit, whatever dumbass thoughts come into your head that take you away from being your truest, authentic, highest self. Which is why you're watching this channel anyways. If you're not looking to be your highest self and you're watching this channel, then you're not even meant to be here. So what I want to go over with you today in today's video is perspective. But not just talk about perspective, share with you why it's so important, share with you how to create perspective, because I'm going to do that anyways at the end of this video. But more importantly, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you a few stories of people who I've met in my life that have a perspective that will help you to understand why this is so important. Okay? First and foremost, when we left Canada to move to the islands, it was originally not going to be a full life change. It was going to be a 6-month stint away from Canada outside of COVID to get away from all the bullshit. The first place that we went is Puerto Rico, right? And if you guys know anything about Puerto Rico, beautiful place, beautiful people, United States territory. But the thing about Puerto Rico is in 2017, there was a hurricane that devastated everything. Devastated everything. To this day, Puerto Rico, still, the roofs in Puerto Rico are brown, they're covered in dirt, they're all broken. Like, Puerto Rico is still recovering 5 years later from the hurricane in 2017. Now, when we went there, we hired a nanny to help us with our sons so we could go on dates and all that stuff. And this nanny, this woman, she lived in Puerto Rico through the hurricane. Okay, she lived there her whole life. And she described an account of the hurricane, her personal account of the hurricane, and discussed with us how insane it was. Not just for her, but for the people all around her. Now, the story I'm about to tell you is real. It's true. It's raw. It came out of her lips, came out of her mouth, and I'm going to do my best to do it justice in this video. The hurricane hits in 2017. She's this amazing woman. She lives in I think it's just a bungalow, a house, bungalow, typical bungalow. And her roof's ripped off. Her roof's ripped off. The hurricane's hitting, there's water all in the house. Everything's flying all over the place. The power goes out, and it's out. You don't have a generator. There's no backup. The power's out. Gone. Water goes out. No more water. The hurricane lasts for 2 days in Puerto Rico. She's stuck in her house with no roof for 2 days. Water flying all over the place. Wind blowing everything all over the place. All of her possessions ruined. Destroyed. After the hurricane, she thought, hey, well, you know what? This is a United States territory. the power should come back on soon. This woman and all of the Puerto Ricans, if you're Puerto Rican watching this, you know what I'm talking about. This woman was without electricity for a year. She didn't have electricity for a year. Okay? One whole fucking year. She didn't have electricity. She didn't have water. She had to wash her clothes in the stream. She had to, she didn't have a phone. She didn't have a computer. She had nothing. Nothing for a year. 1 year, 365 days. I think it was a little bit longer, actually. I think she said 18 months. It might have been a year to a year and a half. And so this woman who lives in a developed country, a developed nation, like Puerto Rico, lives in a house, has similar habits and lifestyle and routines as you and I, had her roof ripped off, lost power, lost water, and had nothing, absolutely nothing, for over a year. The reason I'm telling you this story is because so many of you watching this right now, even myself in the past, and even myself sometimes, if I don't properly regulate myself, everyone can have a lack of perspective at times. Everyone can focus on what's going wrong in their lives, and that can be their perspective. You can focus on the fact that you may not have enough money. You can focus on the fact that you have too many bills. You can focus on the fact that you can't get a girl. You can focus on the fact that your kids are, not as cool as you. You can focus on literally anything. You could focus on the news. You could focus on all the negativity that comes from the media. You could focus on comparing yourself to other people on social media. You could focus on anything, everything. Perspective is what you place your focus on in this life. And if you're constantly counting all of the things you don't have, you're constantly counting all of the ways that you could improve, you're constantly looking for the next best thing, you're constantly focused on the negative bullshit in your life, that's all you're going to have. Okay? Now this woman, when she was going through it, and she was telling me this story, she was crying, by the way. Tears in her eyes. You could tell that it was just monumentally painful. A full year without a house, water leaking in every single day, bugs, insects everywhere, just terrible, horrible. Her perspective, going through that tragic, traumatizing time of her life, was that she knew that one day she was going to have her house back. She was going to be able to rebuild. One day she was going to have electricity. One day she was going to have water again. And that perspective helped her get through it. While I'm sure there was people out there killing themselves, and there was people out there dying from depression and alcoholism and everything you can possibly think of, while there was a year of darkness, this woman was focused. Her perspective was focused on one day soon. So in this video, what I'm trying to point out to you is that if you're just focused every day on being a positive person, being a motivated person, being a happy person, being a confident person, if you're focused on any one singular attribute, those attributes all pale in comparison to the one attribute that makes every single other thing in your life worthwhile, worth living, worth executing on, worth doing. And that's perspective. Perspective. Anytime you have an issue in your life that needs to be resolved, anytime you have something negative happen to you, anytime you let yourself down, you sleep in, you eat the wrong foods, you get drunk and you ruin your relationship, you play too many video games, you waste time, you don't get out of bed when you're supposed to, you skip your workouts, anytime you let your business fail, anytime you let your production suffer because you're such a distracted, dopamine-filled person, anytime something negative happens, understand that if you can truly learn to shift your perspective and understand that everything that's happening to you, for you, and against you, and because of you is a blessing that you can learn from, that you can grow from, until you can learn this and truly embody it in your life, you will always be on a roller coaster of emotions. Always be on a roller coaster of positivity and negativity. Always be on a roller coaster of never having enough, being scarce, being afraid, being anxious, being depressed, and being a fucking peon like everybody else. The reason why I make these videos for you, the reason why I'm committing to 3 videos a week for you guys, is because men, especially in today's day and age, are weak. They're weak, but not only are they weak, it makes me sick. Not only are they weak, they also have zero perspective. They're complaining about everything around them. They're complaining about their lives. They're complaining about the belly fat that looks like they're pregnant hanging off their bellies, off their bodies. They're complaining about their bank accounts. They're complaining about the government. They're complaining about the taxes. They're complaining about the politics of the world. They're complaining. They're not doing anything. And until the perspective shifts to gratitude, to gratefulness, to understanding that even if you're watching this video right now, it means that you have electricity. You most likely live in a country that is developed enough where you can have a phone or internet, which means you have more opportunities than 60%, 80, 90% of the population? Come on. Anchor yourself every single day in gratitude. Anchor yourself and learn to truly become grounded as a human being in the right perspective, and you'll learn how to navigate your way through life. You'll learn how to level up through the ranks of life. You'll learn how to balance everything. You'll learn how to make money. You'll learn how to get fit. You'll learn how to have an amazing family. You'll learn how to become the man that you've always wanted. But if you keep complaining, and if everything's not your fault, and there's no perspective, and there's nothing worthwhile that's for living, you're gonna stay the same. Stay the fucking same. And so, in this video, I want you to understand, perspective is everything. Your outlook on life, your ability to stay grateful, your ability to ground yourself in the right emotions, like a true stoic, and to lead your life as a man with the perspective that brings people closer, that brings people together, that keeps your wife from going too far one direction or the other, that keeps your kids from going too far in one direction or the other. Your perspective as a man is the most important thing. Honestly, one of the most important things in society. Now, if you don't know how to shift your perspective for yourself, if you don't know how to align your day and anchor your day in gratefulness and gratitude so that you can produce wildly abundant results in your business, wildly fast and efficient results with your fitness, wildly amazing and loving and caring results in your family, then I want you to book in a call with me. I've been doing this with men, helping men elevate themselves physically, mentally, in business, and in life for the last 9 years. I know what it takes to take people from step 1 to step 10, level 1 to level 10. I know what it takes to develop the mindset, the perspicacity, to develop the endurance, to develop the discipline, to develop the mindset that it takes to truly step into your greatness as a man. Book in a call with me, and I'll see you guys there.